Before the earth turned beneath the sun on the morning you were born, before your mother felt the first quiet signal that you were ready to arrive, something far greater was already in motion. Beyond the sky you see each night, beyond the constellations mapped by human hands, there are currents of awareness that move with intention. Among them are the Pleiadians, not rulers, not judges, but observers of evolving worlds. They do not interfere without invitation. They do not control fate, but they witness moments when love chooses to incarnate. And the day you were born was one of those moments. Gaia herself, the living consciousness of Earth, was shifting. Humanity stood at a crossroads between fear and remembrance. The world did not need more noise. It did not need more dominance. It needed hearts capable of holding steady light. Your soul answered that call. Long before your first cry, before your name was whispered, your spirit stood in a field of luminous stillness. You were shown glimpses of the life ahead, not every detail, not every challenge, but the essence of it. You saw that you would love deeply. You saw that you would question everything. You saw that your path would not always be easy, but it would be meaningful. And you chose it. The Pleiadians did not command you. They simply reflected your own intention back to you. You understood that to anchor love on Earth, you would need to experience humanity fully. Joy and confusion, closeness and distance, certainty and doubt. You agreed. On the morning of your birth, your mother felt something unusual. She could not explain it. There was no dramatic sign in the sky, no visible miracle. But beneath the ordinary rhythm of the hospital room, beneath the quiet instructions and steady movements, she felt watched over. Not by something frightening, but by something gentle. When she first held you, the world seemed to soften. The noise faded. For a moment, everything felt aligned. She looked into your eyes and felt something ancient there, a calm awareness that did not belong to a newborn alone. She would never tell you the story, not because she meant to hide it, but because she did not have language for it. She only carried the feeling. This child is here for love. As you grew, that feeling followed you. You were sensitive to energy long before you understood what that meant. You could walk into a room and feel tension without anyone speaking. You sensed sadness behind smiles. You often felt older than your years, yet at the same time, you carried a quiet innocence. Nature felt like home to you. Standing beneath the sky brought comfort you couldn't explain. The stars did not feel distant. They felt familiar. Love, however, was complicated. You believed in it completely, yet you struggled to find it reflected back in the way you imagined. You gave more than you received. You forgave quickly. You saw potential in people even when they could not see it in themselves. Some called you naive, but you were not naive. You were remembering something others had forgotten. Through every disappointment, your heart did not close. It adjusted. It learned. It refined itself. You began to understand that love is not proven through intensity, but through consistency. Then one day, in the most ordinary way possible, you met someone who felt different. There was no dramatic introduction, no instant declaration, just a conversation that lingered. A moment of eye contact that felt steady rather than overwhelming. When they spoke, you felt present, not anxious, not pressured, just calm. It felt familiar. Over time, you began to notice small details. The way silence between you felt natural. The way disagreements did not turn into battles. The way laughter came easily. The way you both valued depth over drama. You did not fall in love in a single moment. You unfolded into it. And somewhere far beyond human sight, the Pleiadians observed with quiet understanding. Because this was the alignment they had sensed long ago. You were not meant to search endlessly. You were meant to recognize. One evening, while walking beneath a sky scattered with stars, you felt something shift inside you. You looked up, and for a brief second, the distance between you and the universe seemed smaller. A thought crossed your mind without warning. This is not the first time. You didn't say it at first. It felt too strange, too abstract. But later, when the night grew quieter, you spoke. Do you ever feel like we knew each other before?
They paused.
Instead of dismissing the idea, they nodded slowly. Yes, they said. Like we're continuing something. That was the beginning of remembering. Dreams began to surface, vivid, peaceful, filled with light. You saw landscapes that did not belong to Earth, yet felt deeply familiar. You sensed communication without words, connection without effort. When you described these dreams, they shared similar ones. Different images, same feeling. The realization did not come all at once. It unfolded gently. Your connection was not about possession, not about dependency. It was about resonance. You were not meant to complete one another. You were meant to amplify one another. Together, your presence became steadier. Challenges still appeared. Life does not stop testing growth, but your reactions changed. Instead of escalating conflict, you paused. Instead of assuming the worst, you listened. Love between you was not loud. It was anchored. Friends began to notice something different about being around you. Conversations softened. People felt heard. The atmosphere shifted subtly in your presence. Without trying to teach, you demonstrated. Without trying to preach, you embodied. Gaia responds to frequency, and your frequency was stabilizing. There were moments when doubt crept in. Times when the world's division felt overwhelming. You questioned whether small acts of love could truly matter. But every time you stood barefoot on the earth, every time you watched sunlight filter through trees, every time you held hands in silence, you felt reassurance. Change does not always arrive through force. Sometimes it arrives through consistency. The Pleiadians never intended for you to escape the human experience. They never asked you to abandon emotion or deny struggle. Your purpose was not to transcend life. It was to live it consciously. The hidden truth about the day you were born was never about power. It was about presence. You were born during a time when Gaia required hearts capable of staying open. You were born with a sensitivity that could translate emotion into understanding. You were born with the ability to recognize another soul walking a similar path. Your mother sensed it. She saw how animals were calm around you, how strangers opened up without knowing why, how you sought depth instead of surface. She may never speak of the feelings she had when you were born, that quiet certainty that something unseen was watching over you, but she carries it still. And now, as you stand beside the one who mirrors your soul's frequency, you begin to understand fully. Love is not an accident. Connection is not random. Some meetings are written in the language of energy long before they appear in physical form. You were never meant to chase love desperately. You were meant to recognize it peacefully. And through that recognition, you were meant to remind others. Not everyone will understand your path. Not everyone will resonate with your perspective. But those who do will feel it immediately. A sense of familiarity, of calm, of subtle awakening. That is how Gaia shifts, not through dominance, but through remembrance. As the years unfold, your love deepens not because it avoids hardship, but because it moves through it with awareness. You learn that true strength is gentle, that vulnerability builds bridges, that listening is more powerful than winning. And in quiet moments, when the world feels still and the stars shine clearly, you sometimes sense a presence beyond sight. Not watching to judge, watching to witness. The Pleiadians do not celebrate loudly. They do not intervene in every challenge, but they recognize fulfillment when they see it. The day you were born was never about spectacle. It was about alignment. You arrived at a time when love was needed in its most grounded form. Not dramatic, not exaggerated, simply steady and real. You were born to hold hands without fear, to speak truth without aggression, to choose compassion without losing strength. And when two souls aligned in that intention, something beautiful happened. You became proof. Proof that love can exist without chaos. Proof that partnership can be supportive rather than competitive. Proof that awakening does not require isolation. The hidden truth was never hidden to keep you small. It was hidden until you were ready. Ready to see that your life was not random. Ready to understand that your longing for deeper connection was not weakness. Ready to accept that your sensitivity was strength. Gaia continues to shift. Humanity continues to learn. And you continue to walk forward, not as a savior, not as a leader.